and welcome to episode 11 of the Thinking in Tech podcast, a podcast about guys that work with tech and they love talking about tech. My host Baz is out this week, but we do have a special guest joining us today, Matthew Kulina, a professional software developer and a friend of mine that recently launched his new application, KidTag, a tool for parents to use for keeping track of their children's whereabouts. That'll be a great conversation, but before we get started, if those watching would be kind enough to hit the like button, we have a ton of fun doing these podcasts and we really want to grow as much as possible. Those like counts go a huge way at helping us find an audience. And click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on more great future episodes. All right, let's jump right into our conversation with Matt. Alrighty, welcome to the show, Matthew Kulina, professional software developer and personal friend that I've worked with for the last 5 years across 2 different companies. Recently, Matt has released his first app, KidTag, to the Apple iOS store and is also on Android.
No, not yet. It's a
Okay.
work in progress. I'm just trying to get the ball rolling, so people start adopting it, but it is definitely planned.
There you go. So Android coming soon. So today we're bringing Matt on the show to tell us all about his app and what it was like building it. So Matt, can you tell us what KidTag is?
Absolutely. So at least in my mind, what kind of initiated it before we get into that is, uh, at least in my neighborhood, I see a lot of kids, that are kind of 7, 8, 9 and up that don't have phones, but they bounce between 4 or 5 friends' houses, in the neighborhood, or even like across the street. And kind of the evening rolls in, and then their parents are like, I have no idea where the heck they are, right? So at the very least, that's what kind of sparked it. Was I just kept hearing this or seeing, other parents in the neighborhood driving around, like asking if they've seen, Johnny or anybody, and that's what kind of sparked it for me. Was, you know, I'm big on privacy. I'm big on, kids not being like on social media or even having phones any sooner than they need in their lives. So if this is a way to facilitate where, you know, people that trust each other can just kind of get a push notification of, hey, Johnny showed up at Megan's house, that immediately tells the parent, where they are, where they were at last, so they can just go pick them up if they need to, or they immediately can kind of have a glance at their phone and know where that kid is, and there's nothing social, it's just all private. But that's been the biggest driver, at least for it, and I guess I kind of cohesively explained what KidTag is as well, right? Where trusted households can kind of connect with one another and just tag in their kid and just be aware.
Yeah, that's awesome. When I first heard about it, I thought it was like such a great idea and something I can definitely see myself using for my kids in a couple of years. Right now they're 2 and 6, but like you're saying, around that 8 years old range is kind of when kids
Yeah.
kind of start just bouncing around the neighborhood, and sometimes they forget to tell mom or dad where they ended up. So like you literally just like, I'm not sure where my kid is right now. I guess I'll start walking around the street, see who's playing
Yeah.
outside, but just to have like that community of parents in a neighborhood or even like beyond once they get older, that it's just once they see your kid come in and they can just like quickly open up the app, right, and they just kind of like hit your kid's name, you get connected with those parents, and it just kind of immediately, as the parent, you can see it on my phone like, okay, my daughter's at Johnny's house, or
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's an awesome idea.
Exactly. I kind of, envisioned it as, at least probably for us growing up, right? Our parents kind of figured out where we might be by the stack of bikes in someone's lawn. And to me, it's like ideally the digital equivalent of that, just seeing 4 or 5 bikes on someone's lawn, and, you see your kid's bike and you know exactly where they are. So it's hopefully the digital version.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, what was it like developing and building the app? Like this is your first mobile application, right?
Yeah.
That you've sent to the iOS store, and yeah, can you tell
Yeah.
us about that?
I would say this is like, yeah, the first one I've, built and shipped myself, end to end. I've worked on a few, apps in my past, but the amount of boilerplate stuff that I didn't realize had to happen, under the
Yeah.
hood, uh, with the submission process and everything that Apple entails, um, that was kind of like hitting my head against the wall, right? Because you just need to old school Google and ask and find forums on this stuff because you might not have something enabled in your app or your developer account, right? Just on the Apple side, that's just like, yeah, you don't get push notifications because you just didn't click the radio button, in your
Mm-hmm.
settings. Um, but I would say the biggest hurdle, honestly, was just like getting started on it and deciding on like, do I do native? Do I do like a Flutter app? Biggest thing was trying to get as much feedback from my neighborhood. See like, is there a solid 50-50 mix of Android? Is it mostly iOS? Initially, I was going to do just like Swift, right? Native iOS, and then
Mm-hmm.
thought about it and realized that, there's a handful of parents, and especially it's mostly like grandparents that just have Android phones for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like,
When I think about it, my
uh,
mom has an Android. Like, now that you mention it, so yeah, I guess
yeah.
so.
So I don't know if that's just like what they usually go for, like the cheapest option, right? Like a decade ago, and they just stuck with whatever that Samsung, any Android flavor that you want to pick, and
Yeah,
they
they're just in
just
that
stuck with it,
ecosystem, right?
right? Like once they were in it, like that's what they know, and they just continue
Yeah.
down it. Um, so for me, it was kind of eye-opening to go, okay, I do want to do an Android app later on, and that's at least talking with one of my mentors that I have, who's a huge like mobile app developer. He kind of pushed me towards the React Native side because he said, being read about the Android docs and like what needs to happen for the Android side, and just be cognizant of it while you're building some of this stuff out, so that you don't just completely build it for iOS and then D-Day comes basically and you go, okay, now I got to, rework like half, if not more of it to work for Android because there's native features or something, right, that you're using within like iOS ecosystem. Uh, but yeah, it's been a hurdle. So yeah, I went with React Native, and then the second one for me was the back end. Kind of fought with like self-hosting it myself, but then kind of jumping on, I realized with my mentor again was he suggested Firebase, and because the Firebase free plan is pretty decent to get just the ball rolling, um,
Mm-hmm.
and there's plenty of free to it in a sense that you can like do 2FA, with text and stuff, and until you get to like 50,000 reads and writes, I think, in a day, then it starts like charging you basically cents. It's like
Okay.
nothing,
Yeah, that sounds like a
and
pretty good
it's
deal.
yeah, and the other benefit is like it's all serverless, and then it's super easy to just kind of expand regionally, right? Right now, I'm just doing like central US for my hosting, but it's very, very easy to just kind of, have a West Coast, East Coast side. If I want to expand to Europe, I can just immediately spin that up in Europe, and it's live and it's there. So it's a fairly nice system. There are some downsides with like how you have to architect some of the back end, but free is free, so I can't argue.
Yeah, can't beat that, right? Yeah, I've had some experience, with my jobs working React Native, and I don't think I could do it any other way, especially because, I'm originally my background's like in web development, using JavaScript, and I believe yours is as well, right? You're a full stack developer, so I know you probably weren't like always in JavaScript, but I imagine it being a little easier to kind of use some of those, JavaScript libraries and stuff and bring it
Yeah,
over to React Native. It's like slightly different. The core is still JavaScript,
yeah, yeah. Like I've used React professionally when we were at our last roles, but and I guess I've used it a little bit in our current roles as well. But it's just so easy to do, especially with like the app support out there. With some of the extensions and like Expo was incredible.
Yeah, I'm a
you could
fan.
tie into like some of the really deep Apple ecosystem, APIs with like one click ease. Basically, it's incredible. So I was very impressed with like just how mature and how easy it is to kind of not have to hand roll, a lot of these really annoying little modules just to unlock Face ID, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And
it's all built in, and it stays up to date really quickly. Just from my experience,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a lot of the new the Apple the liquid glass, I guess, design system they have. Expo's already a new libraries in there that just import the libraries, and it matches that like exactly, and it's called React Native because they're trying their best to feel like a native app, right? And Expo just helps makes that so much easier.
Yeah, that's honestly the other reason too, at least with Expo, that I realized when I was looking at like some of the releases, I was comparing, feature releases that, Apple would change for whatever iOS version when that would release. And then I wanted to see like how things lined up for, certain packages that were out there. Because at least for me is I wanted to be kind of the reason I was going, trying to be native on this side with Swift was uh just having that stuff day one, right? But like basically everything I saw was they have it all built out during beta testing, and it's like day of it's basically
Pretty
good to
much.
go, right?
Yeah.
That's what blew me away. So I'm like, I have literally no reason to even maybe do a native version of it. The only thing I will have to do native is I want to do a watch OS, implementation,
Oh,
so that
interesting.
like so
Oh,
that
yeah,
parents
that's a
could
good
just like
idea.
look at their watch and be like, oh, they're
Yeah,
here, right? Or
that'd be cool. It just kind of just vibrates and like pings them, right?
exactly, right. Or I know
Yeah.
some kids do have like the cellular connected Apple Watches, right?
Hmm.
I think I haven't dug into it too much, but a perfect scenario for me would be like if the parent or child, progresses to that tier, or even if they do end up with their own mobile device, they can, tie that device to that account basically, and at a glance, like the parent of that place doesn't even have to check them in, right? It would just
That'd be the
either
kid at
auto
that
check
point.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it could either auto check in because I think it's good for the host, is how I would define it, to know that like someone came to their house, right?
True. Right.
Um, and it's also nice that parent might be busy or something, or just forget to check them in. Just having the ability to kind of maybe even prompt the parent with a notification like, "Hey, Johnny showed up. You want to check him in?" I think it'd be really, really helpful just to add more fluency and just the less like friction, for those check-ins to
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And does that have to do like almost with like geolocation, where like if you have another friend's house registered on your account, and if they have like the location on while using the
Mhm.
app, it can just even know when they're like at that location and auto check them in.
Yeah,
Is that
that's the
kind of what we're talking about a
goals.
little bit?
Yep, yeah. Basically, during onboarding, when you are creating your household, for yourself, it requires you to input your address, right? And
Hmm.
that address again is only private, and the only people that can see it is once you have connected with someone via QR, or you just send them a invite, with a link. Um, and and if you already have the app, for both sides, it just prompts you in the app to, hey, someone wants to be a pending connection for your trusted households. Uh, but yeah, that's ideally the goal. Is just kind of that auto geo location, tag in, tag out, stuff like that.
Cool. A little bit of a sneak peek of
Yeah,
future
yeah,
features to come.
yeah. I'm hoping. The biggest kind of barrier to entry for me is just not being knowledgeable enough on like what watchOS can do, can't do. I do know there's like the where the parent has an iPhone, but they just get a watch for the kid. And there's a way to
Hmm.
like tie the two, but it's like not the singular identity. It identifies as a child. And Apple also has a ton of, restrictions around like kids, which is good. I love that. Uh, so we'll see. I have to do a lot of testing myself first to make sure it's even viable.
Gotcha. It sounds like an interesting challenge.
It is.
Um,
It has invoked a lot of things I didn't have to think about, right?
Right, and this is just clarified. It's all you, right? Like you're the person,
Yeah.
doing all the coding, building the app. You're doing the
Yeah.
marketing sides of it. Was that side of things, after developing and doing the coding side of things, which is, from what I understand your more traditional background, working mostly in the code. How's it been having to be the marketer and having to like promote the app and try getting people to use it and download it?
The hardest thing, at least with it, is I'm not a marketer, so it's been like probably the biggest barrier to entry for me is just understanding how to do that. And the other part with it, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just like do ads or something. And then I started looking at like the CPM, I think is the abbreviation. It's like click per like sale or transaction. Like basically when someone actually
Right.
clicks the ad, it's like $4 or $6,
For
uh,
every click, every time
for
someone
for
clicks on your
for
ad.
yeah, for like kids stuff, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, holy crap, I can't even compete with that. So I'm just trying to honestly just do it with word of mouth,
Yeah.
and just pushing that privacy side, especially with everything kind of going on in the world right now. Uh, I know not everyone wants like another app, but I'm hoping that I can put in enough features that make it more viable and enticing for people to use just for, again, being, next thing I'm working on is like a widget, right, that you can just have on your home screen. And
Okay.
it would
Cool.
just basically like show your kid's face and then just say where they are, right? Are they home? Are they at Johnny's house? Stuff like that.
You just pick up your phone, not even like past a lock screen, just kind of on this. You see the
Exactly.
clock and there's widget below there. You just point it
Exactly.
away at a
Stuff like
glance.
that. Right.
Yeah.
Just trying to give features that people want is the biggest
Hmm.
thing, to entice them and want them to keep using the app. Because again, I'm just building this for parents, uh, to make them feel better about, what's going on and everything.
Totally. Yeah, I can see it's like, it start catching on as soon as you share with one parent and like the idea, and then it's just kind of that
Yeah.
organic growth from there, right? And
Right.
I know,
And
mhm.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Julie, my fiance, she's fascinated by it and she loves the idea. And she has a list of, I think, of future requests she told me to hand
Oh,
off to
that's
you. So I'll send those
awesome.
over. But she's interested. Yeah. And I played around with it a little bit too. So I think we'll definitely be some testers for it. And, hopefully we can get the
No,
word
I love
around
that.
and you'll see hopefully a spike show up, in
Yeah, right.
Central Florida for it, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping to like my whole neighborhood is using it and they all love it. I
Oh,
keep
nice.
hearing about like how much they like it, but
Yeah.
it's again the marketing side of it, right? Where I'm just like posting I don't even I hate using Facebook. So
Hmm.
it's enough for me to like have to manually go in my browser and like log in and go to like the local neighbor groups or city groups and be like, "Hey, here's my app, go download it." Cuz I also know I've been on the other side of that coin and being like roll my eyes like, "Okay, dude, like
Yeah, it can
I
be
don't
hard
want
to kind of get people to care, make that connection, even for them to look at for 5 seconds and be like, "Oh, wait a minute, this
exactly."
is actually really cool and something I want to use." That's kind of the hardest barrier to get over, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just trying to just do it naturally, word of mouth. If people like it, just sharing it and being like, hey, here's a app I'm using. And honestly, even if I get to like, I think I'm at like 40 pretty regular users within my neighborhood.
Okay, nice.
Um, if I honestly, even if I get to like 200 and it just keeps people at peace, it's plenty enough for me to keep, building on it or adding features that people want.
Very cool. Once they like, I'm sure Julia will start sharing it in the mom groups, but I feel like once it goes on those Facebook mom groups, those like really clicky, like close together,
Yeah.
and that's how you'll know it starts taking off. You're like, you just suddenly all these moms start sharing it on Facebook, right?
Yeah, and again, I'm just hoping, people start providing feedback or feature
Yeah.
requests, that would mostly benefit them. Like one of the
Hmm.
ones that I'm trying to work through is there's a Northwest Ohio like autism group, and they're trying to put it in front of like this board regarding that. So I'm trying to like, I'm not involved in those communities, but any ways I can help other communities, of neurodivergent like kids or anything, just feature wise to help them be more at peace or again be comfortable with what's going on or with handoffs, right, with their caretakers or their teachers, uh, so that they know that they've made it somewhere, right?
Yeah,
So
that's kind of just opened up my mind actually how this could almost be used in different scenarios for like daycare.
exactly,
Like my daycare
exactly.
has an app where you check your kid and check it out, but their app's really
Yep,
bad. It'd be nice to
correct.
have
Is it
a good
ProCare?
app. It's the one with the elephant on it. Is that I don't even.
No,
It sounds like that. But my phone's on
no,
camera, so I can't look it up. But
no. Ours is called ProCare. It's like it's almost like an Olympic three circles when I look at it right now. But I swear to God, half the time when I go to log in, it's like some .NET error pops up, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like broken, doesn't
ah,
work, and they have to do something
yeah,
in by paper anyway. So be able to have an app that works for that, that works well, and you can use it
right,
outside daycare too, and just like your personal relationships in life. That'd be
exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping, people just start kind of giving some features or ideas of like what would help them. Like the one that my neighbor requested was being able to see like what a person's household has. So if it's like they
Oh,
got a
okay.
pool, if they have a fenced in yard. I didn't want to like
Like
call it
a
like
dog or something, like an
yeah, yeah,
animal.
pets.
Yep.
Yeah, pets exactly are on there. So it's like I just called it household features. I didn't want it to
Hmm.
sound like a negative, right? If someone has a pool or a
Right.
hot tub or a trampoline, it's just, hey, we have these things so that when that child comes here, you are aware of it, right? Because the other part with my neighbor was her son that like bounces around. I think she's like, I haven't even met the parents of these kids, and they're just like
Wow.
going to the house, right? I would say our neighborhood is very, very, very safe, and basically everybody knows each other, but they haven't even like mutually interacted, so they're just going to these kids houses, and that just kind of made me go, oh, well, maybe the barrier is reducing that to an app, and at least that immediately tells them like where they're going, who the parents are if they need a call, because sometimes that kid comes to their place, right? And what if something
Hmm.
happens, what if they have allergies, just kind of being aware of that stuff, again, hopefully helping parents.
Yeah, totally. That sounds great. So, it's like the idea of the app, making the app, it's the main idea is helping parents. But if it does scale, it gets to a point where you do have to pay money for server costs. Is the app currently like making any kind of money? Like, are you putting kind of ads on the app, or is there a
Yeah,
subscription?
yeah, so there's a free tier that basically lets you connect with four households. That's the current, status quo. Unlimited
Hmm.
kids, unlimited, parents or caretakers. Yeah, there are ads, nothing that like interrupts you in a sense. If like you have to check in or an emergency happens and you have to click the
Yeah.
person that's at your home to be able to call their parent, not like a full screen ad just pops up,
Yeah,
right?
the 20
Um,
second wait to skip the ad
right,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's just like a little banner ad at the bottom of most pages, not even every page, just enough because like what I didn't realize until you start getting charged for it is like uh Google's Firebase OTP is like 6 cents per like text. And I'm like, holy crap,
Okay.
like that's a lot. But the benefit is like it's through a short code, like a 5-digit short code text, which
Hmm.
just paying for some of those is like insane numbers. So you're just kind
I
of
bet. Yeah, adds up.
eating it by proxy of getting a short code, for two factor. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's just insane. But yeah, it's just ads right now for the free tier, and then there is a plus tier. That is, I just have it at $2 a month, or it's $15 a year. And ideally for me, that's where like the biggest benefits come in for some of the like the widgets or the watch OS, compatibility that I want to come down the line. The biggest thing for me with Plus, and I probably have to market this even more, is it only takes one subscription for the whole household to get the benefits
Hmm.
of no ads and all those features. It's not per person. So let's say I have family sharing on for the subscription. So if like it's for it's like you and your parents that have it, then if they start using the app, they would get the benefits too. But also anybody that is part of your household, which could be like you and Julie, and then if you guys have, a babysitter or something and they're added, they also would
Okay.
get no ads, nothing. So it just kind of like
Interesting.
spider webs out, right? That just one purchase kind of can affect and benefit 15 people or even multiple households if grandma and grandpa make like a household themselves with no kids,
Hmm.
but the grandkids go over there, they get the benefits of the no ads as well.
It's like a family account to like every sense of the word
Basically,
family, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Because I didn't again want to like nickel and dime people. Like, I just if you are willing to support the app enough with that singular purchase, that's good enough for me. I'm ideally hoping that it gets to a point where I can even offer like a lifetime, like $30 and you get lifetime no ads, all the features forever forward.
Yeah.
Um,
The classic software model, right? People used
exactly.
to be able
Yeah.
to buy software and own it, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's unfortunate where the world's gone, but it is what it is. But yeah, ideally, I'd like to, offer like a lifetime or, uh, some variant of that, where they just single purchase and they get it forever.
Very cool. And also, you were talking about just wanting to receive feedback for the app for people that use it. Is there a place like on the app right now that you can submit feedback, or is there like on the like a website you can do that on?
Yeah, so there is a link at the bottom of the settings page currently, that just it's hello@kidtag.app for the
Mm-hmm.
email, and it just opens your mailer, of choice, and it lets you send an email. I do not have like any prompt box or anything that pops up in the app. It's all through email currently. The biggest thing with at least the feedback of that is, with the encryption, I can basically see the users, but I can't see like anything regarding to the household. And
Okay.
for me, the biggest thing is, I want to be able to kind of have like a back and forth if I have questions currently,
Okay.
with
So you
that
can really
user.
help them out if you need to, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because they might submit something, and we've dealt with this with stakeholders at work, right? Where
Yeah.
they want something, you build it, and they go, "That's not what I wanted," and you go, "Crap,
So
I
what
wish I
do
could
you
have had."
really want? What can, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's always that term of like, we know what they need, not what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
For software developers. So I'm hoping to, within that avenue to be able to have more back and forth and even be like, hey, is this what you're kind of envisioning, right? Send a screenshot of the app or the feature, to kind of just really keep them in the loop. Again, it's for them, right? So, uh, that's the greatest critics are, your biggest benefit in my mind, for the
Sure.
app,
Yeah.
of because if they're criticizing it, they care enough to say something.
Absolutely. Agreed. Awesome. Very cool. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to tell the audience about your app or just anything at all?
Download it, try it out. You can, scan a QR code at kidtag.app on the web. It's in the iOS App Store. And yeah, I just want feedback. I want to make this an app for families, that benefits them, and keep it private. And again, ideally, if you know it goes the long term, be able to just give everybody the premium benefits, without even needing to purchase a subscription of any sort. So
All right. Sounds great. And also, I'll have links to iOS store for Kid App in the description below. Feel free to try it, a free download to try it out. And if you like it enough and want to pay for the extra features, do that as well. So, alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for coming on the show today and talking about your app. That was a great conversation.
absolutely, thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
Of course. See you around. Thank you so much again, Matt, for coming on the show. If you're a parent, make sure to download and try out the KidTag app. So we'll hop right into the outro part of the show, as always, with This Day in Tech History. So this episode will go live tomorrow on June 11th. And what happened on June 11th, 1978 was 48 years ago, Texas Instruments revealed the Speak and Spell children's toy at CES. So I think most people know what a Speak and Spell is. It's kind of the classic little tech toy where you type out words and then you'll hear in that old school kind of computer speaking sound. It's saying the word you spell out. And this probably seems pretty simple nowadays, but I know when this first came out, it was before my time. But from what I understand, when this first came out, it was a pretty cool thing, and people weren't really used to hearing little technology devices talking to them. So even though it was a device made for kids, everyone thought it was pretty cool, pretty iconic. I know it shows up in the Toy Story movie, so classic tech toy. So we'll jump right into the credits now. Thanks for listening to the show. Thank you for listening to the Thinking in Tech podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to follow us on your podcast service of choice and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are watching on YouTube, we appreciate if you clicked on the like button and left a comment. That's how we know people are enjoying what we're doing, and it helps us get discovered to new listeners. Also, let us know if you're someone who might be interested on appearing on the show as a guest, like Matt did today. You can email us at thinkingintechpod@gmail.com. So, final little legal bit. The views expressed in this podcast are completely of our own and do not reflect or represent the views of any past, current, or future employers. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.